Deebing Creek, just south of Ipswich, is the site of a former Aboriginal mission surrounded by bushland, where the Queensland government imprisoned and enslaved hundreds of First Nations people from across the state. The area is of immense cultural, historical and environmental significance, but the state government and Ipswich City Council have approved plans by private corporations to bulldoze the forest for suburban sprawl development. First Nations people and their supporters have been occupying the site and have set up protection camps to resist Queensland Police and the developers. Here are 5 facts you need to know about the struggle to protect Deebing Creek. Number 1. First Nations people have repeatedly and consistently expressed opposition to private development of the site. Many Aboriginal families have important historical and cultural connections to Deebing Creek, with a long list of elders and native title claiming groups raising their opposition and dissent to private development, including the Yuggera Yuggerapul and Juggera Darran organisations. First Nations elders and their families from throughout Queensland have supported and been involved in the protests and the on-site protection camps. Number 2. Only a small part of this important site is currently protected. The state government claims the Aboriginal mission site and historic cemetery are protected from development, but the proposed residential development extends right up to the boundaries of the cemetery, and a proposed train line extension could run right through the middle of the cemetery site itself. Ground-penetrating radar studies also provide credible evidence that some bodies may be buried well outside the officially mapped cemetery boundaries. As well as the threat to the burial grounds and mission sites, the waterway and forest itself is under direct threat and not protected at all. Number 3. Deebing Creek is of high ecological significance. The creek flows into the Bremer and Brisbane rivers and is part of an important wildlife corridor. The forest is home to koalas, kangaroos, echidnas and a long list of other native animals and plants. A leaked environmental report from February 2021 shows that much of the area has been mapped as high-value koala habitat and identifies a wide range of threatened fauna and flora species that are already at high risk due to habitat destruction. Development plans show that the vast majority of the forest will be cleared. With so much suburban sprawl development throughout southeast Queensland, protecting intact vegetation corridors like the Deebing Creek forest is especially important. Number 4. The type of development proposed is poorly designed, profit-driven, and unsustainable. The proposals for Deebing Creek by A.V. Jennings, Fraser's, and Stockland's developers are car-centric suburban sprawl neighbourhoods that have been widely criticised for forcing residents to drive long distances to workplaces, shops, services, and schools, causing more traffic congestion, carbon pollution, and consumption of non-renewable resources. The developments also don't include any public housing or Aboriginal community housing, so they won't improve affordability for people on lower incomes. Number 5. Deebing Creek is a flourishing cultural and sustainability hub. Aboriginal people and their supporters continue to occupy and live at Deebing Creek and are restoring the site, managing farm plots, bush tucker gardens and aquaponics systems, and planting hundreds of native trees. Through these kinds of activities, the site has become a space for truth-telling, healing, and cultural renewal, all while the land is simultaneously being protected from destruction. Check the video description for details on how to get involved in the struggle to save Deebing Creek. This important site must be protected from private development and returned to the rightful Aboriginal custodians.